Welcome to Teachings from the Masters with Daryl Shaun Price.
I want to talk to you about one of the most misunderstood concepts when it comes to being a creator, manifesting miracles, and having your happiest life. And at the core of it is this one principle. You create what you are, not what you want. Now, we live in a society that loves to define who people are based on the circumstances they are experiencing. You are rich, therefore these things are who you are. You are poor, therefore these things are who you are. You are black, you are white, you are a male, you are a female, you are healthy, you are overweight. It doesn't matter. There's all these labels that are just circumstances that you are experiencing right now. Some of them will be long-term circumstances. Some of them will be short-term circumstances. That is not who you are. And the trap we fall into very frequently is when we try to decide who we are and create a life that mirrors that the best, we often default to the circumstances we want to experience and forget who we are at our core. I want to remind you who you are. Take away all those circumstances. Take away the color of your skin, your gender, your financial situation, your health. Take away whatever is going on in your relationships right now. You still exist. If all of those characteristics did not exist, you still would. Your consciousness is eternal. It is powerful. It is the energy of creation itself that is your spirit. Being aware that you exist and you that is eternal exists beyond those circumstances is that first crucial step. So it starts with this idea that I am. That's you being aware of being. Anything else you put after that is a circumstance. I am rich. I am poor. I am healthy. I am overweight. Anything you put after that is a circumstance. But when you start to create a reality that matches and is most in alignment for you in this life, you get to be aware of something that feels good to you. So I am aware of being. The next part is I am, and you fill in that blank with whatever feels best. Now you're aware of being something. Now something from this world has come into your existence. I am wealthy. I am healthy. I am happy. I am traveling. I am teaching. No matter what you put after that, remember, there's an I am that will always exist even when that circumstance does not. And then what happens is, a lot of the times as we're imagining, we get really, really attached to the circumstances we have experienced and how we want those circumstances to shift and try to convince our imagination that at its core, this circumstance shifting is who we are. We are never a shifting circumstance. So for you to put that something, that I am whatever you want to experience, it needs to be something that is in tune and in alignment with your spirit. And how do you know? You know by your heart. So let's take, for example, we're going to take finances because that seems to be a big one for most people. You can go in the mirror all day long and say, I am wealthy, I am abundant, I have millions of dollars coming to me, etc., 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 etc. And then look at your bank account that's in the negatives and struggle to pay bills. And oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to buy groceries today like I thought. I have to wait for more money to come in. So I'm eating ramen, whatever the circumstance is. And it doesn't line up. Well, a lot of the times when we create these I am affirmations or these ideas, we're trying to convince ourselves that shifting this circumstance will be best for us. But which means all we've done is created a definition of who we are based on the circumstances we're having again. This time it's fighting against those circumstances. I'm going to give you an example from one of the people I work with. Her biggest passion, her biggest drive right now that just pulls her is she has this desire to be completely independent, not to have to need others, to be able to take care of herself, which she's never really done in life because she's jumped from one relationship to the next and was raised in a very conservative home that said that basically she relies on a husband for everything. And her desire is to have that freedom of, I am strong enough to take care of myself. Now, where the caveat comes in is a lot of what she'd worked on previously was, I need to have this much money. I need to have this job. I need to have this. Then I can be someone who is independent, strong, and takes care of themselves. You see where the layers are? This I am, which is who she really wants to be and what she wants to experience, has now become conditional to circumstances shifting to make it easy for her mind to understand how she can be that. What about the things you're trying to create? Are you doing the same things? Are you taking and adding these steps and layers that are all based on conditions you're experiencing shifting before you decide who you are? Let me use my life as an example. Those of you that follow me, those of you who have worked with me, those of you who have joined our inner circle, who have gone to the courses, know that they have had life-changing experiences. It was about, I want to say a year and a half ago, that I felt a pull to get back into teaching these principles, to sharing this message with the world, to helping others realize how powerful a creator they are, no matter what circumstances they are experiencing. So, of course, my mind kicks in, well, you need to have a website, and you need to have a following, and you need to have this, and you need to start doing this, and if you don't do it this way, and what about marketing, and get a marketing team? And my mind's going to go wild, because those are the experiences I had in the past as a coach, as a teacher, as an author, as a speaker, was I have to do all these things so that I can do this. And I said, no, I don't. I am an inspirational speaker who shares a message that will help you shift your life so that you can create anything you want. And all I did was sit with that. That was what I imagined being. That was what I lived. That was who I became. After having that impression and really leaning into that imagination, even without having a website or the courses or anything set up, I had somebody approach me and say, hey, I have this group of people on Facebook who are looking for somebody to give them some more content. I know how good you are at leading guided meditations. I've worked with you before. I know how good you are at giving messages that change people's lives. Will you come into this group and take it over and run it? This group had over 40,000 people in it. But I didn't market and I didn't do all the things I was supposed to do. And now I was interacting with 40,000 people on a weekly basis, sharing the message because I am somebody who shares this message with people who are really ready to change their life. Here you go. It didn't require me to shift my circumstances into having this business set up the way that it made logical sense for me to be who I was. You create what you are, not what you want. I was somebody who embodied that. So the experience came into my existence in the 3D world. Now, let's talk about the wants and the desires. They're there for one reason and one reason only: to point you towards what it feels like to be most in alignment. So let's say you have a desire for more money. Like, okay, well, it's nice that I'm going to live happy and be at peace, but I want more money. I want more money. I have to have more money. Okay. Sit with that desire for a moment. Really feel into it. Really imagine if you had the money you want right now? Who would you be, and what would that feel like? My story, I really sat with and imagined if I had an audience that I could share this message to that was ready to receive it, who would I be and what would that feel like? And the universe said, here's that experience. So you are that person. It has to show up for you. So coming back to the money situation, you have the money you desire now. Who are you and what does it feel like? Imagine that person, because behind that feeling is what you really want. You want that state of being. It has nothing to do with the money. If you got that state of being in a completely different way, it wouldn't matter if you had the money. This is where we have so much attachment to the circumstances. And a lot of times I see people do this and they get really into the meditations and they manifest like, oh my gosh, I can imagine the money and it's happy and it's great. And then they go and like, yeah, but my bank account sucks. And now I've lost my home and now all this other stuff is happening. So obviously that's not real. So who you were was always dependent on the circumstances. Once you get to the point that you are so at peace, so in alignment with who that person is when you have the thing that you desire and how that feels, the world will match that vibration. That's why it's so important to let yourself feel. Your heart is directing your attention so that you are creating your happiest life naturally. So let's say, for example, you really want the money and maybe you're struggling right now and, oh my gosh, if I just had more money, it would solve these problems in my life. So there's a desire there for more money. And let me imagine that I had it. Let me imagine I've paid all the bills. Let me imagine for a moment what it's like to have extra to play with and not worry about money coming in. Oh, that feels like peace and freedom. And that feels like me being someone who doesn't worry about financial situations, whatever they are. That feels like someone who is just calm, doesn't react when anything with money comes up. Hey, you've imagined it, you've felt it, therefore you've planted that seed. It's now growing. Now you go back into the real world and, oh no, my bank account went negative. Wait, but you are someone who doesn't react when financial things come up because it's not that big a deal. Okay, then you stay in that wish fulfilled. Okay, it's not that big a deal. The bank account's negative. That's just an experience I'm having right now. And yes, this is difficult. This is where the work comes in of you living in alignment. Continue to be this person, whether or not the circumstance is what you thought it would be, because you are this person, and allow the world to shift to match. You will find the more you do that, you're now what you're actually doing is detaching your energy and attention from these circumstances that are triggering what are definitely not good emotions. Those not good emotions are telling you, nope, not in alignment. Do not give energy to this situation. Don't keep imagining what's going to happen because your bank account's in the negative. Stop feeding it. And what do you do instead? This is where you practice non-reaction. This is where you say, okay, I am feeling fear because, wow, my bank account's in the negative. But the fear only comes up not because your bank account's in the negative, it's because of what you imagine afterwards. Uh-oh, how am I going to pay this bill? What if I don't have enough money for food? What if I get in trouble? What if my landlord gets mad at me? What if my rent is late? What if? That's where the emotion is. Emotion isn't telling you this circumstance is good, bad, or anything. It's just a circumstance. It's just an experience. Emotion is telling you, whoa, your imagination's going down a spiral you're not going to like. Let's stop it. So you shift your attention from what you're imagining because of the circumstance to what the emotion is and just observe it. I feel the fear. There's a heaviness in my chest. There's a pressure there. It feels like kind of a sharp little ping. I'm just going to observe that emotion, that sensation as it is. I'm not ignoring it. I'm not pushing it away. I'm feeling it. And once that emotion has passed, and I'm back to neutral. And you're going to get tired sometimes because your mind is so used to racing with the imaginations that are a reaction to everything that's there. Once that has passed, ask yourself what feels like peace right now. The answers will almost always surprise you. It doesn't make logical sense because you're not out there shifting this circumstance. You're shifting your attention to who you are and who you choose to be so that your desires naturally manifest and miracles happen in your life. I'm going to give you an example. So years and years and years ago, when I first was learning these concepts, I wanted to play around with this idea of being able to manifest something. And I was in a place where things were going pretty well and I had a pretty stable income and I had a lot of friends coming over to the house all the time and we had big parties and they were just amazing and they were awesome. It was fun parties. I thought, man, wouldn't it be nice if I had a hot tub in the backyard that we could all hang out in? Especially on the cold nights. I was living in Utah where winters get cold. It'd be really just a cool experience to sit there with my friends and just to be able to look up at the stars. So mine goes, well, hot tubs are going to cost this amount, so you need this amount of money. Da, da, da. And I kind of stopped myself and said, wait, I don't care if it's the money or what. I care about the hot tub. I care about the result, not how I'm going to get it. So I stopped. I imagined what it would be like to have that hot tub. I imagined how big it was. I imagined the deck that was around it. I imagined my friends and I sitting there and how fun that was to just be in those moments and share together. And when I was done imagining, I think it was a day later, I thought, let me go look on Craigslist. About 2 blocks away from where I lived was somebody giving away a hot tub that looked exactly like I imagined. It was new, hadn't been opened or installed yet. When they bought the house that they just bought, it was still in the backyard. The previous owners had bought it and never did anything with it. They were giving it away. Just come with a trailer, pick it up. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I did not shift my circumstance. I shifted who I was. I was the guy that had the hot tub in the backyard that people came and sat in and looked at the stars on winter nights. And it appeared. Now, funny part of the story, I never went and got the hot tub. It didn't matter to me. The fact that I created it in my reality was all that mattered. As I did research and realized, hey, I'm going to have to put a cement slab down. I'm going to have to do some rewiring because it was an electrical hot tub and just didn't want to deal with that hassle. I just never got it. But I didn't have to shift my circumstance so I could be someone. I had to shift who I was by putting my attention on the imagination and feeling of being that person. And then the outside world shifted to match. How much of your trying to imagine, trying to manifest is really focused on shifting an outside circumstance versus what it feels like to be who you want to be? Is the moment you shift who you are, moment you shift whatever that word is you put after I am, that is when the miracles happen. You attract what you are, not what you want. You create what you are, not what you want. And if you are so focused on circumstances have to shift for me to be who I want to be, then you're going to be in an uphill battle and a fight. And I'll tell you, the moment you decide who you want to be, let's say it's wealthy. I want to be free and wealthy and have so much money to be able to give and bless and buy things and do things with. And you know what that feels like? All the circumstances that you've been attached to that have triggered you will come up. You will experience, because there's some vibration there that is already created, things that are financial struggle. And oh no, this happened. And oh no, this feels like it's falling apart. Because that's what you already created by who you were previously. So you now shift who you are. All this stuff is working itself out. But the moment you say, hey, I am wealthy, I don't worry about money, things are working out for me always, I don't need to stress, and then go look at a bank account that's negative and go, oh no, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Oh my gosh, and let that imagination go wild, you stop being this. You stop being that person who is not going to react to the money situations, whatever they are, because you're always taken care of. This is why it's so important to live in alignment and do things like practicing non-reaction. Because when you live in alignment, you're focused on the internal being, not what is happening external. And by focusing on that internal being, not what is happening, you manifest miracles. And I've told you just a couple from me and somebody I've worked with, and I've got endless stories of this happening over and over and over again with people I have worked with me in my life. When you are living in alignment, when you are focused on your imagination and who you are internally, this will shift. The miracles will happen. But if you keep putting your attention and energy on reacting to circumstances and the desire to shift the circumstances so that you can finally be who you want to be, you will struggle. So let me do a quick recap here. Number one is being aware that you are everything besides you are being. Is circumstance. It's just experience. You are eternal. Your spirit is the energy of creation. You always exist. That consciousness continues. That is who you really are. You can become aware of any circumstance you would like to experience. But that's an internal work. Imagining and feeling. I am wealthy. I am healthy. I am not worried about anything like that. I am at peace all the time. I am always having things work out for me. All internal. 100% internal. Once you decide who you want to be, this is what I want to experience, this is who I want to be, imagine it and feel it. And when anything happens outside, be aware of what happens. Do not react to it. Don't give your emotion and imagination to the reaction to the outside circumstance. Because if you keep your emotion and imagination on that being you decide you want to be, this will shift to match miraculously. So be mindful when it comes to anything on the outside. I am aware of this happening. Oh, my bank account's in the negative. Okay, that's what I'm experiencing right now. But I don't worry about money. Things always work out for me. I am wealthy. I feel that. Let this experience be what it is. Then watch the miracles roll in. If there's anything I can do to help you guys, I'm here to help. I would love to have you part of the 2-week transformation. If you go to my website, DarylShaunPrice.com, you will see the Power of You 2-week transformation. It is me guiding you every day for 2 weeks on simple daily practices that will help you get in alignment, live in alignment, and be open to miracles by keeping your focus on that inner being. So if that calls to you, you want that extra help, you are ready to live in alignment and have a life of miracles, come join us. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this episode with somebody who needs to shift their attention so they can create miracles in their lives. We'll see you next time.